So I was under the impression, you know what, I saved, so I should be able to have all of these unlocked. Nope. And I created an account right here, and I played under that account, I believe. Maybe that's the reason I wasn't able to do it, but it started me back at the beginning, which is a common theme for this game. Starting back at the beginning. Because you can see in this first one of two protocols, which you can see. Can you see my, oh, you can't see my, alright, I'll have to remember that. At the top left of the screen, where it says protocol progress, it's one of two. Now if I screw up on the first one, I have to go back to the beginning, which isn't a big deal when you're on the one of two, but it's a big deal when you're on level 5, and I think there's 7 on that one. And I've not even finished the game. I was there, it's at level 5, and ended up not, deciding to do this and getting sidetracked for a couple hours to try and get this all set up for you, but also, like, I prefer this to, like, you just see my face or you just see the screen. Like, I can configure this setup significantly better. Essentially, you're just reading the code, which is a lot easier than it sounds because they get really, really complicated. At least to me, with the way I process information, it's very, very confusing. See those highlighted spaces around you? You get to move 1 to avoid the drone security. Okay. So I want to go to an odd space. That's saying if space number's odd, you're good. I'll stay where I am, because 1 is odd. So as the further we go in, the more variables they are. The more variables they are. The more variables there are. Okay, so drone search, you're going to get moved to an even. And they put a timer on it, which 0 is even. When they put the timer on it, is to add so much more to the immediacy of things needing to be done. So at the end, when you're done with all of these, you're going to put in a screenshot of this screen with all of them unlocked. The drone's code looks for different triggers each time, but it always follows rules. There's an equality operator in this code. I've uploaded documentation to help you understand the programming. Whether the objects on either side are equal. Let me scroll down. Oh, good. Phone call. Excuse me 1 second. Hello? Okay. Sorry for that interruption. If you're confused by the language on here, don't be afraid. I'm very confused by it too, and I think I know what they mean. One thing I can tell you, though, it's not scrolling down. Maybe it will scroll down when I hit this. Yes, the timer is right now. Okay, if space is odd, let's move to an odd space. See, this area is yellow as well. Lighting comes into effect, and you can see we're on 1 of 4 on this round, if you will. Even. So if the space is even, skip the location. If the space is wired, but it's false, so I want to go to a non-wired spot. I think. I could screw up here. If this were the first run through, that would have gotten me. Okay, you need to move to an odd. All right. Let's see, third level. It's going easy so far. So 2 lines means or. The computer can connect several tests together, allowing a programmer to check multiple conditions at once. If sky is blue or sky is orange, the computer says true if any comparison is true, not if the comparison is true. If no comparison is true, the computer says false. So you're giving it a list of things to look at, and if one of them is true, they'll be true. If none of them are true, it would be false. Even if one line is safe, you'll be safe. So it doesn't have to be, if there's a list, there could be 100 things. As long as one is true, that's fine. Yes, and they might put lots of ors. Yeah, the next to. So if it's next to something. If it's next to something, you want that to be... You don't want to be next to something because that's false. And odd. Well, I'm technically next to something because this thing's right here. The game is broken. Oh no, because I'm on an odd. Then why wouldn't it have detected this? Or I guess it's saying next to something, you're in front of it. I don't know, that one's weird. Wired, false, so you don't want it to be wired and you want it to be even. So 2 would work. 4 would have worked as well. Okay, so now I get the last one because it had one of the conditions. Next to object. Yes, you can either be next to the object or you can be even. So I believe 0 would have worked as well. And another reason why I thought doing a live stream would be good, at least for me, is if I'm just trying to work it out in my mind, for whatever reason that doesn't work as well as if I'm saying it. So I was sitting in my room alone, speaking to myself and saying weird stuff like, this is true, or something like that. So if you find yourself in a tough spot with this, it might help to just say it out loud. So space is odd, next to object, or wired. Right? This should work. Right. It's not next to an object, but it's not next to something. That's fine, but it's wired and it's also an odd number. So space is odd, next to object, or it's wired. So 3 should be safe. 2 should also be safe as well. Not many that are... Well, only 2 were the wrong choice. Why couldn't this have been the way it was the first time I did it? Okay, 4th one. This is where I started keeping notes that I was writing down before, because this is where it, for me, started to get pretty challenging. Sometimes the security isn't looking for something to be the same, but for something different. There's a new operator in this code where the drone looks not for something to be true, but for something to be false. Select the next arrow when you're ready to take on the drone. So not equal, that exclamation point means it's not that, so it's a double negative. And again, something like saying it out loud could be helpful, or whatever way works best for you to kind of like get yourself used to that kind of, because it's just so counterintuitive. The computer can check whether two objects are not the same using the unequal. If A and B are different, the computer says true, and the computer says false when A and B are the same. So, let me read that again. The computer says, if A and B are different, the computer says true. If the computer says false, the computer says false when A and B are the same. So the sky color is not green. And they're adding on other stuff too, like the lit spaces. So it's a lot of stuff. And the timer. Space is wired. Okay, I should be fine. I should have been fine just standing there, right? Oh, no, nope. Ah! Because it's the exclamation point. Restart. And so if I were on the 5th or 6th, so if I was on number 5, I'd have to go all the way back to the start. But it does let you skip through this. The first time you go to it, it doesn't. So not next. You don't want to be next to an object. Nope, you do. Oh, man. It's difficult for me. It's fine, I'll get it eventually, but it's that counterintuitiveness. I can skip to this. Space is lit. False. You want to go to the lit space. Okay. There we go. Space is lit. True. You want to go to the unlit space. Because true is false and false is true. If there's the exclamation point there. They take the exclamation point away. It ain't the same. So, even... It's odd or not wired. Odd or not wired. Yeah, I could have gone to 4, the 4 above. Because that's not wired. Whew. And that timer, the timer is just the rougher part, in my opinion. Space is wired, true. This one doesn't have the exclamation point. Or odd. True, wired space, or odd. So I think the 1 would have worked as well. And I'm going through this one at a much quicker rate than the last time I went through it. Remember, I've gotten to the next level. I've almost passed the next level once before, so I've had time to get used to this. It probably won't go as smoothly for you at the first time. So space is wired or it's odd. Wired or odd. I can't move anywhere where it's... Space is wired, true. Odd. Oh, I should have stayed... Oh, You can always stay at the spot you're on. God, I forgot about that. So, yep. Do I get to start at 4 again? Nope. Nope. Go all the way back to the beginning. Gosh. Okay, I know. If I knew, I guess I wouldn't be back here. Space is lit. False. But it's the exclamation point, so you want to go to the lit space. So that means even because of the exclamation. Space is either not wired or it is lit. So 0 should work. I mean, 1 worked, that's why I went there, but 0 should also work. Space is wired, false. And it's next to the object, so this should be good. This one didn't have the exclamation point. So space is not lit because of the exclamation point, or it's wired. And space is wired, either next to an object, wired, or lit. Well, I got lucky on that because I read the wired and lit wrong. I, didn't take into account the false. And I just got lucky. Whew. Alright, continuing along. This is the furthest I've gotten. Security can check multiple conditions at once. If you see conditions separated by the and, the if statement will be true only be true if both conditions are true. So it's not like the list anymore. Well, it's like the list, only instead of it just needs to be one of them true. If you see 2 ands, both have to be true. So metal and even. The 2. Odd and next to an object. There's only one answer. Going to the 3. Again, because the and symbols are there. Nothing's next to an object up there. It's not lit because of the exclamation point, and it's odd. Not lit and odd. I should have been able to stay right where I was as well, because that's an option. Even or false, because there's not the and things. So even, not false. Or is, I can stay right where I am. For a second, I thought it was gonna get me. Alright, there's no and symbol on that one. So it's just that list thing. So it could be either one of those. If there were the and symbol, that's when it has to be both. There's the and symbol. Alright, we got 3 things. Beam, wired, and odd. What the heck? That has to be it. This to me looks like more of a beam, but like the X ones, those look like more of a beam to me, but it had to be wired and it had to be odd. So with that one being 2, if this one were 3, I'm pointing with the pointer because I'm assuming you can see it, which you can't. If the one to the left, the 2, were if that were an odd number, I would have gone to it because that appeared to be a beam to me, or it had the wire on it, I guess. 507. So it's even, it's not lit, and it's next to an object. Again, because I'm trying to pay attention to those details with those and symbols. the bell. Next to an object, not next to an object, not lit, and is wired. This has to be it. It's so they have the and symbol, so everything has to be there, but also they're using the exclamation point, so it's the reverse. All right. I just gotta tell you something. Doing this stream of it, vastly improved. What I'm doing. So this is what you want to turn in. I mean, technically, I suppose you don't even have to do the last one because there's no way of knowing that you did the last one unless there's an end screen. Let's see if we find the end screen. But if you get this far, great. Just send all those things unlocked. The picture of that, screenshot of that. Mega System will be unlocked. No more new code. Just power through the final sequence. See you on the other side. So it's just a full assessment. If is next to the object. So I just had to be next to the object on that one. Floor is not metal, and or space is lit. What did I do incorrectly? No, space did need to be lit. All right. So if the space is lit, I went to the one space that could be lit. Space is wired or lit. Well, lit was false, but I got away with one there because it's an or. 2 lines for the or instead of it being if it were the and symbol, or if it were just straight up telling me. Space number, it has to be even because of the exclamation point, and not lit. Because the and symbol, and it has to be. So even because of the exclamation point, or so even or not lit. 0 is considered even. 1 will go again, and that'd be it. Space is lit. Metal. Not metal. Oh, jeez. I thought I was down at the bottom. I think I got this. And I just went off the first one, and I noticed it wasn't the and. So I looked over here at the drone search algorithm, and there weren't any and symbols, so I knew I could just get one of those and I'd be good. So this one is an and, so I have to get them all. It is even. I'm sorry. It has to be in the shade. It has to be even and next to something. In the shade, even and next to something. What? Oh, because the exclamation points. So I thought it was supposed to be space is lit true. So that means it needs to be in the shade. Space number even, because it's the opposite of odd, is next to an object. True. That's where I went wrong, because I went next to the object. So if I went up to the top here, I would have had it. Now, if this were Seaside Racing, I'd have a world record by now. Space is wired. Next to an object, or it is space is wired. So it has to be odd and wired, because it has the and symbol there, not the list, but the and. Space should be lit, which we don't have, next to an object. Do want to be next to an object. Yeah, very close to not processing that one in time. Okay, so a list. Space is lit, space number is even, or the space is wired. Lit, even, or wired. Space is not lit. Space is not next to an object, and it's even. Not lit, not next. I think I got it. I just didn't have enough time to really think about it. Okay. Those ones are tough on a timer. Okay, metal. Space floor is metal. Not lit. Space is lit, false. It's next to an object. False. I should just be able to stay here because it's metal. I'm curious as to why the 0 above me was set to be a thing. Because the floor type is metal. Because it's next to an object. It's next to that. As this one's next to this. Alright, so even though it's metal, because there's one on this list, it would have set it off. Alright, let's see if I get the last one. Odd. So if number is even, space is wired, even, wired, and I'm gonna go with 4 because it's even. Oh my gosh, that sound lags, and I thought I didn't get it. Again, that was a list one. You did it. You did it. The system's open. Thank you. Find the ship and get out there. Get out of here. Thank you. Continue. High scores. Oh. What? Is this like a... Just play till you go? Send me your high scores. I'm just going. Yep. Okay, so take a screenshot of this screen. You'll be good. Even if you don't unlock the middle one, as long as you can get the last one. It's super frustrating, but I hope this video has been somewhat helpful. Alright, good luck out there. Bye.